of the Father's love begotten, ere the worlds began to be. He is Alpha and Omega, he the source, the ending, he. Of the things that are, that have been, and that future years shall see, evermore and evermore.
Then Jesus went with his disciples to a place called Gethsemane, and he said to them,
"Sit here while I go over there and pray."
He took Peter and the two sons of Zebedee along with him, and began to be sorrowful and troubled. Then he said to them,
"My soul is overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death. Stay here. Keep watch with me."
Going a little farther, he fell with his face to the ground and prayed,
"My Father, if it is possible, may this cup be taken from me. Yet not as I will, but as you will."
Then he returned to his disciples and found them sleeping.
"Could you men not keep watch with me for 1 hour? Watch and pray, so that you will not fall into temptation. The spirit is willing, but the body is weak."
He went away a second time and prayed,
"My Father, if it is not possible for this cup to be taken away unless I drink it, may your will be done."
When he came back, he found them sleeping again, because their eyes were heavy. So he left them and went away once more and prayed the third time, saying the same thing. Then he returned to his disciples and said to them,
"Are you still sleeping and resting? Look, the hour is near, and the Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of sinners. Rise, let us go. Here comes my betrayer."
While he was still speaking, Judas, one of the 12, arrived. With him was a large crowd armed with swords and clubs, sent from the chief priests and the elders of the people. Now the betrayer had arranged a signal with them. They should arrest the man that he kisses. Going at once to Jesus, Judas greeted Jesus and kissed him. Then Jesus, knowing all that would happen to him, came forward and said to them,
"Whom do you seek?"
They answered him,
Jesus of Nazareth.
Jesus said to them,
"I am."
and they drew back and fell to the ground. Then the guards stepped forward, seized Jesus, and arrested him. With that, Peter rushed forward, drew out his sword, and struck the servant of the high priest, cutting off his ear.
"Put your sword back in its place, for all who draw the sword will die by the sword. Do you think I cannot call on my Father, and he will at once put at my disposal more than 12 legions of angels? But how then would the scriptures be fulfilled that say it must happen in this way?"
Then Jesus spoke to the crowd.
"Am I leading a rebellion that you have come out with swords and clubs to capture me? Every day I sat in the temple courts teaching, and you did not arrest me. But this has all taken place, that the writings of the prophets might be fulfilled."
With that, all the disciples deserted him and fled.
What wondrous love is this, O my soul, O my soul. What wondrous love is this, O my soul? What wondrous love is this that caused the Lord of bliss to bear the dreadful curse for my soul, to bear the dreadful curse for my soul.
Friday's dawning was uncertain. Clouds had crept in from the sea and covered Jerusalem in a gray blanket. Now and then a thin, drizzling rain fell. The palace which Herod the Great had built more than 50 years ago was enclosed by a wall of massive stone 45 feet high. Within the wall were rich green gardens, covered promenades, bordered by canals, lovely pools, and curious water fountains. But 33 years ago, King Herod had gone down to death. And now, as all his ambition for the glory of his name and the kingship of his son having failed, the place was named for the Roman governor who held court here during the high feast days of the Jews. It was called the Praetorium. Pontius Pilate walked its promenades. His troops occupied its barracks. Rome ruled. A gate in the Praetorium wall opened eastward to the wide public square of the upper city. Jews who intended to celebrate the Passover would never defile themselves by entering the residence of a Gentile. But Roman law required prosecutions and sentencing to take place in public. In order to render legal judgments then, Pilate met with the people of Judea in that square east of the royal palace. A tribunal, an elevated speaker's platform, had been erected in that place. When court was in session, a large wooden chair was brought out and set upon this platform. It was called the magistrate's seat. When Pontius Pilate sat therein, he was Rome.
In the gray dawn of Friday, High Priest Caiaphas stood at the very edge of the ramp that led to the Praetorium gate and rapped the hard end of his staff on the stones.
An audience and a judgment.
Behind him, a miserable group had gathered in the public square. Soldiers of the temple guard, certain leading members of the Sanhedrin, and there in their midst, his wrists bound in front of him, his face soiled and tired, but otherwise unremarkable, Jesus of Nazareth.
He grew up before him like a tender shoot, and like a root out of dry ground. He had no beauty, majesty to attract us to him, nothing in his appearance that we should desire him.
Pontius Pilate, procurator, here is a criminal of such public threat that Rome must hear the indictment and pass sentence and execute her sentence now, today, before sunset and the Sabbath.
Having made his formal petition, the high priest returned to those who stood under the gray drizzle in the open square. Other members of the Sanhedrin showed more anxiety than he did, murmuring among themselves about the charges they would bring. Jesus allowed his eye to wander over the spacious pavement, his focus on the far southeastern corner. His lips tightened and his jaw clenched. Several women and a man were lurking in that corner, their hoods drawn up against the weather. Their faces were mostly concealed, but he recognized them. Andrew, his first follower. He must have brought the women here. Mary Magdalene, pinched and pale. Joanna and Susanna, and Mary of Bethany. And her sister Martha, short and solid. Jesus closed his eyes with unutterable sadness. Suddenly, 2 Roman soldiers thrust a wooden shaft between his elbows and his back. They each had an end and drove him forward in front of the steps of the platform. Pilate's chair was in position. A servant raised a shield over Pilate's chair to protect him from the rain. Pilate sat down and beckoned the high priest forward.
Now then, what's the charge?
We found this man, Jesus of Nazareth, perverting our nation.
Yes, and?
And sedition. He says that he is Messiah, a king.
Why have you come to me? Your Messiah is your religion. Judge him according to your own law.
No, we must come to you. We don't have the authority to put a man to death.
Death?
Pilate stood.
You think he's committed a capital offense? Fine, bring him in. I'll interrogate him inside.
By the end of the rod in his back, the soldiers dragged Jesus after the governor, through the gate, and into the praetorium itself. In a broad hallway, Pilate again sat down. Jesus was positioned directly in front of him.
I have no time for this. Make your answers short. Jesus of Nazareth, are you the king of the Jews?
Jesus bent forward by the rod through the crooks of his elbow, nevertheless raised his head and looked directly into Pilate's eyes.
Do you say this on your own, or did others tell you this about me?
What? Am I a Jew? Your own chief priest delivered you to me. What have you done?
My kingdom is not of this world. If it were, my subjects would be fighting for me. But my kingdom is from another place.
So, then you are a king.
You are right in saying I am a king. In fact, for this reason, I was born. And for this, I came into the world, to testify to the truth. All those who belong to the truth, listen to my voice.
Truth? Truth? What is truth?
Shaking his head, Pilate walked out into the wet morning, while the accused was driven stumbling behind him. This time, Jesus was forced to climb the steps to the tribunal. As he came to the top, he saw Pilate's back and heard his confident announcement.
I find no fault in this man.
Immediately, a clamor arose in the public square. Crowds were gathering now. Certain members of the Sanhedrin came forward, lodging further charges against Jesus.
Do you see them? He stirs the people to insurrection, even from Galilee to this place.
Permission to respond?
Jesus said nothing.
Maybe they're in a building.
He's a known revolutionary.
Pilate nodded, but Jesus still said nothing.
He has forbidden his followers to give tribute to Caesar.
Each time an accusation was presented, Pilate invited some reply from Jesus, but he held his peace. He looked every accuser squarely in the face, but he himself said nothing. Finally, Pilate raised his hand for silence.
He was oppressed and afflicted, yet he did not open his mouth. He was led like a lamb to the slaughter, and as a sheep before her shearers is silent, so he did not open his mouth.
Pilate stepped forward on the platform and prepared to render his ruling.
I examined this man and found no evidence for any of your charges. But your outrage is real, and it must be satisfied. Therefore, I'll order the accused to be scourged with a whip of knotted cords and weights of metal. After that, I propose to honor your custom of releasing one prisoner at the Passover. I release this man, Jesus of Nazareth.
There was a moment of perfect stillness. The high priest looked trapped, unable to respond. Suddenly, a voice cried from the back of the crowd,
Jesus? Jesus who? Not Jesus of Nazareth, but Jesus Barabbas.
Caiaphas now joined the chorus.
Yes, yes, if you choose to honor the custom, sir, release unto us Jesus Barabbas.
Now the rest of the crowd began to chant.
Barabbas! Barabbas!
The governor was stunned.
Barabbas is a murderer. You yourself asked for his arrest, and I agreed.
I know which Jesus is more dangerous to both of us.
Only one of them has killed a Roman.
But Caiaphas and the chief priests were already encouraging the crowds, who drowned Pilate's words with their chanting.
Barabbas! Release unto us Barabbas!
The chant grew to a thunder in the square. People came rushing from everywhere in the city. More and more voices added to the noise. The crowd was swelling into a mob. A riot was brewing.
Barabbas! Barabbas!
Only those on the tribunal could hear the governor issue orders to the centurion.
Take him to the barracks, whip him, and make it bloody.
In the barracks, soldiers stripped the clothes from Jesus' body. His hands were tied to posts with leather straps. Out of nowhere, a lash whistled, stung his shoulders, then ripped forward and set his flesh on fire. The beating went on and on and on. Jesus began to taste blood in his breathing, in his mouth and in his nose. Darkness closed around the edges of his thoughts. He sagged. He hung heavy from his wrists. His body writhed in agony and pain. This was the Father's will.
He was despised and rejected by men, a man of sorrows and familiar with suffering. Surely he took up our infirmities and carried our sorrows. Yet we considered him stricken by God, smitten by him, and afflicted.
After the scourging, he was dragged out and was now standing on one side of the tribunal, confronting the multitude. Pontius Pilate was gesturing toward him and shouting,
Behold the man! Now what do you say? Which man should I release to you? Jesus Barabbas or Jesus of Nazareth?
The multitude had found a single voice.
Barabbas!
Pilate looked troubled.
Then what should I do with this man?
Crucify him!
Why should I crucify him? What evil has he done?
Caiaphas leaped to the platform and shouted at the top of his lungs,
We have a law, and by that law he ought to die, because he made himself the Son of God.
Pilate now shouted at Jesus.
What is the matter with you? Have you nothing at all to say?
Now Caiaphas too was shouting,
Crucify him, magistrate, or else you are no friend of Caesar's, because he pretends to be a king like Caesar.
What then? Shall I crucify your king?
We have no king but Caesar.
And now the voice of the multitude resounded with an endless, thunderous roaring.
Crucify! Crucify! Crucify!
So Pilate sank down into the judgment chair and gripped the armrests and delivered his verdict. He released the man that had been arrested for insurrection and for murder. But Jesus of Nazareth, he turned over to the will of the people. He ordered a centurion and a small contingent of soldiers to lead him outside the city and to crucify him. Jesus is dragging a heavy wooden beam up the center of the street. Two soldiers try to lay it on his shoulders, but the weight of the rough wood tears at the lacerations in his back, and the pain becomes so intense that he becomes lightheaded and falls to the ground. Jesus is moving north, slowly toward the garden gate. His hair, because he bends so far forward, hangs nearly to the ground. The sandaled feet of a centurion are walking in front of him, just within his vision. He is following these feet. There is the sound of wailing behind him. He has heard such lamentations before, for Lazarus, for Jairus' daughter, for the son of the widow of Nain. The morning drizzle has turned to rain. Everyone is wet. And the sky is more than gray now. Darker clouds are rolling in from the west. There is a breeze. It's 9 o'clock in the morning, Friday.
Out through the garden gate they go, yet farther north. The stone city wall runs north and south on his right-hand side. Jewish tombs are cut into the rock on his left. Here is a hill by the side of the road, a rocky mound in which 4 stout poles are fixed, forever ready to receive the crossbeams and the bodies of criminals sentenced to crucifixion. The hill allows a public viewing. It is called Golgotha. The centurion halts here and hands Jesus a jar of liquid. He lifts it to his lips and tastes it, but then refuses to drink. This is wine mixed with myrrh, a narcotic. It is not the will of the Father. 4 soldiers strip Jesus down to his loincloth. At the same time, another group of soldiers arrives. They bring 2 more men with crossbeams on their backs. These men do drink. They drain their jars completely dry.
All 3 are now stretched on the ground, each beside a different pole. Jesus stares at the black clouds lowering. His back is on fire with pain. He cannot swallow. He wishes he could swallow, but his tongue is thick and stuck to the roof of his mouth. Someone lifts his head by the hair, then sets it on the wood. His arms are yanked left and right, as far as they will go, palms up. A cold point touches his wrist. This is the will of the Father.
Above his head they place the written charge against him. This is Jesus, the King of the Jews. 2 robbers were crucified with him, one on his right and one on his left. Those who passed by hurled insults at him, shaking their heads and saying,
Ugh, you are going to destroy the temple and build it in 3 days. Save yourself. Come down from the cross if you are the Son of God.
I am poured out like water, and all my bones are out of joint. My heart has turned to wax. It has melted away within me. My strength is dried up like a potsherd, and my tongue sticks to the roof of my mouth. You lay me in dust till death. Dogs have surrounded me. A band of evil men has encircled me. They have pierced my hands and my feet. I can count all my bones. People stare and gloat over me. They divide my garments among them, and they cast lots for my clothing.
Rain falls steadily now. The breeze is stiffening. Nevertheless, pilgrims still travel up the road and into the city. They see the inscription above him and grin. Certain Pharisees are standing by, nudging one another.
He saved others. What do you think? Can he save himself? Hey, if you are God, the Son of God, prove it by setting yourself free. Hey, King of the Jews, jump down from that cross, and we will believe in you.
Now even one of the criminals who hung there hurled insults at him.
Aren't you the Christ? Save yourself and us.
The other criminal rebuked him.
Don't you fear God, since you are under the same sentence? We are punished justly, for we are getting what our deeds deserve. But this man has done nothing wrong. Jesus, Remember me when you come into your kingdom.
I tell you the truth. Today, you shall be with me in paradise.
All at once, the wind dies. Black clouds close in. Travelers hurry toward the city now. A storm is coming.
Jesus drops his eyes, sees familiar women at his feet, and involuntarily cries out, "This is the sorrow. This is suffering, greater than whips and spikes and a universe of derision." His mother is there. Mary, still supporting herself by gripping John's arm, is looking directly at him, pleading with him. Her face is at the level of his waist. She is crying. She is 50 years old, gray and frail, and her eyes are begging him, "Why? Why are you dying?"
Thunder rumbles across the sky. All at once, the wind is howling down the Jewish tombs. Trees bow and rise again. The road to Jerusalem clears swiftly of people. The soldiers huddle in the lee side of the hill. It is noon now, and the earth is utterly black.
Darkness, an hour, while the fierce wind makes the rain sting like sand on the skin, and no one exists in all the world but Jesus and his wretched body. Darkness, another hour, darkness. Jesus can neither think nor breathe. Darkness, a third hour.
Eli?
No, not even his Father, whose will he is even now obeying, the Father who has loved him from the beginning, whom he has loved, whom he has called Abba.
My God, why have you forsaken me? Why are you so far from saving me? So far from the words of my groaning. All who see me mock me. They hurl insults, shaking their heads. He trusts in the Lord. Let the Lord rescue him. Eli? Eli?
Where is his father now? Has the son become so foul that even God the Father cannot look upon him?
My God, why have you forsaken me?
Silence. The rain has ended. The wind has died.
It is finished. Father, into your hands I commend my spirit. For he bore the sin of many, and made intercession for the transgressors.
At that moment, the curtain of the temple was torn in two from top to bottom. The earth shook, and the rocks split.
When the centurion and those with him who were guarding Jesus saw the earthquake and all that had happened, they were terrified and exclaimed,
Surely this man was the Son of God.
As evening approached, there came a rich man from Arimathea named Joseph, who had himself become a disciple of Jesus. Going to Pilate, he asked for Jesus' body, and Pilate ordered that it be given to him. Joseph took the body, wrapped it in a clean linen cloth, and placed it in his own new tomb that he had cut out of the rock. He rolled a big stone in front of the entrance to the tomb and went away.
Evening fell. The Sabbath had arrived.
For the transgression of my people, he was stricken. He was assigned a grave with the wicked and with the rich in his death, though he had done no violence, nor was any deceit in his mouth. Yet it was the Lord's will to crush him and cause him to suffer. As all of this was done for you, you are invited now. We have a tradition of coming up, and you'll see by the foot of the cross a nail and a hammer, and to pound the nail in the cross, just representing that it's for you and for your sin he was punished. He was pierced for our transgressions. He was crushed for our iniquities. The punishment that brought us peace was upon him, and by his wounds we are made healed. All of this for you. Before the creation of the world, the universe, or anything else, Jesus knew this is where he would go for you, out of love for you. From the time you were born to this day, all the wrong thoughts, all the selfishness, all the self-centeredness, all your sin, the things you might regret, the things you remember and don't remember, never knew that you did, nor thought. It's all been paid for. God holds nothing against you. It was all poured out on Jesus. And you are forgiven. The service is completed now, and you're welcome to stay as long as you'd like, just to think about what Jesus has done for you. And then when you're ready to just get up and leave, and see many of you back here Sunday morning.
Tree. forgiven, so